I didn't turn it around. You know how that rotated so that I had it pointing at me. Good morning, church. I have some things to talk about this morning. The first thing I want to go over is some people have been asking me repeatedly to talk about gang stalking. And the reason I want to talk about this is to kind of explain a little bit more as to gang stalking, because it's really, really serious, especially when you're talking about groups of people who have gathered together in order to target people. One of the reasons I did things the way I did was because Elizabeth St. Cyr was trying to plant seeds in people's heads that my adopted father, Richard Erickson, had killed my mother because her death is under investigation. So there's no confusion here. Elizabeth is connected to people at Department of Health and Human Services, and she bragged about that she herself has influence over people at Department of Health and Human Services. In fact, she used that influence in order to target people online. And I've got snapshots, and also Doge can go back and pick that stuff up out of my Facebook feeds, because she sent massive messages to me, including admitting to me that she lied about my brother Steve being dead. So this is somebody who targets handicapped people. And she also, her son came to me and told me, her biological son, he was adopted and he was removed from her because of molest and because of her drug addiction. And so because of that, it's really, really relevant. When she did that, she made herself not a victim. She has a history of targeting people that are handicapped, and there's no excuse for that. Along with her, we've got other people that were friends of hers that were helping her. There's a whole bunch more people than the ones that I'm going to name, one of which is Brandy and Corey from the Waterville campsite. They were so jealous of me and my son because of our relationship with Mike and Gina that they did everything they could to lie on us and to try to overtake what my son was doing with Mike and Gina. They are connected to Department of Health and Human Services through one of the people that's ahead over in Cass County. It's either the nephew or the son of her. And I have evidence of that. I actually had their medical file in my storage, if it's still there and hasn't been stolen. Now, keep in mind that we've reported that my storage was broken into already to the storage people. So he is aware, and me and him have have an understanding. So there's no confusion here, because their storage units kept getting broken into and they couldn't figure out why. I assumed that I'm one of the reasons, because my storage unit has a lot of evidence in it. And I've paid for that out of my own pocket. Nobody paid for that except for me. So there's no confusion here. The other person was Cassandra Stratton, who bragged to me that she was lying to the police and that they believed her and would never believe me. Cassandra is one of the former tenants at one of our houses, and she was pissed off because she too lost her kids for drugs. I don't know if there was any sexual deviance involved, but I do know that there were drugs and alcohol involved in her situation. The other person is Erica from Waterville campsite. She was with our neighbor, who was in lot 7, and I forget his name, but he sent me an inappropriate picture of him in his shorts, and he tried to holler at me. Erica was hacking into my phone, and so did Brandy. Amazon caught Brandy when they were trying to deliver a birthday present for my son. And I just happened to be sitting outside. Amazon told me in front of Brandy that somebody had hacked my phone and changed my GPS. And Erica was doing the same thing from the campsite, who was in lot 7. The person that came to me and told me that she was with, he told me that he knew she was using a fake name and that she was also a pedophile. So there's no confusion here. We've also got a whole bunch of other people. I'm just giving you a few examples and none of these have anything to do with the gym or Bronson. I want people to know that Bronson has done the best they can. They're stuck in the middle. So they're a medical facility, and it was politely told to me yesterday that they know that I understand the HIPAA Rights Act. In fact, anybody who goes and uses any medical evidence that comes from their files that they hacked into is violating my rights. And that isn't just about me. That's about everybody in the facility that's a patient at Bronson Medical Facility. So unless you went in there with the intent to target people like me, which I have reason to believe. I'm not going to go into names right now. I'm going to let the police handle that. But I have reason to believe that people purposely tried to go into physical therapy in order to target and to track me. And if you have an understanding for the severity of the situation where my situation's concerned, you would have a better understanding. This for me has gone on for years. And again, I have multiple family members that have been verified to have been murdered. It's listed in the paper that my mom's death is under investigation. I was told by the San Diego coroner's office that my Aunt Linda's death is under investigation, that she was in fact murdered. I've also, I was there when the hospital told my family that my uncle, my blood uncle, and he's my adopted grandfather, he's my legal grandfather, David Bud Greist, he was murdered as well. He was smothered in his sleep. And my mom said she didn't believe it. They were like, is there a way he could have done that himself? And they said, absolutely not. They were very certain with the fact that my grandfather, the one who acted with Ronald Reagan, was murdered. And then there's my grandmother, Faith Falk, who was, I just marked my shirt up. My grandfather, my grandmother, Faith Falk, who was murdered here in Van Buren County. They tried to rule her death as a suicide, but it's my understanding she was poisoned and found naked and raped. So it's kind of hard to sit here and to say that my grandma was a suicide victim when I don't believe that she was. And I believe that because she was divorcing Ward Bell at the time. And she had told everybody that he had molested my cousin Beth. So there's no confusion. There's behavior problems that actually show that to be true. So when you have all this big group of people who's trying to get out of criminal charges, that's the type of stuff that they pull. So don't get it twisted when you see people that are trying to do criminalistic things who are already criminals trying to get out of stuff. This is a form of gang stalking. When you have a large group of people with the same agenda or similar agendas who want to take a person down, that's the type of stuff that they do. And, for people to sit here and try to claim, no, they would never do that. No. Let's get it right now. Because, when you stop and look at the fact that all these people have already got cases, not all of them, most of them, the ones that I'm bringing up, have cases with the court for drug addiction. Either that or they were caught selling pills like Brandy and Corey were at Waterville Elite campsite. I know they were selling pills because I had other people come back and tell, not just me, they told my son as well. So I could see where Brandy would be trying to get out of consequences for her actions. This is why people gang stalk. And it didn't just happen with my social media accounts. These guys were altering documents. They were hacking into court and hospital accounts, which are supposed to be protected with security. So we've got a huge problem here. And then I have people that have repeatedly broken into not just my places, but my adopted father's as well. Had they busted into my brother's? I can't tell you. What I do know is that Elizabeth St. Cyr stole documents from me and then claimed that my dad, my adopted father, Richard Erickson, instructed her to do that. Now, she's already been documented to be not just a drug addict, but a pathological liar who is an attention seeker. I'm not just saying this. This is a court-documented fact. She had a case with her kids where she lost them righteously because of drugs. There's a difference between having evidence and mixing up statements on purpose, which is what was done in my case, okay? There is absolutely zero evidence of me as a drug addict or an alcoholic. I am actually allergic to cocaine and do not take neither pain medicine nor any over-the-counter stuff because of my kidney disease and my allergies. So we have a problem here where these guys are concerned. I don't drink alcohol. Now, I do use it to make tenures, but I haven't done that in a while. So there's no excuse for what these people did to me. To me, it's human trafficking and kidnapping. Now, if you look at the facts and the fact that these guys purposely lied and altered documents, that's exactly what it is. It's kidnapping. It's just a fancy version of it that is, approved by a rogue judge who just didn't want to see justice done, because some of these guys were caught taking bribes within the state of Michigan, including the head of Lara, who had subpoenaed me. On top of this, I've got people that they served me and when they removed my daughter and told me I had to be at court at 3:00 that afternoon, which also violates my rights. So for anybody who wants to know about this, you have to give people reasonable accommodation to go to court. These guys knew that I could not drive because they had my medical records, and they knew that there was no public transportation available for at least 24 to 48 hours, according to Cass County Transit System. What is it? What's it called? I forget what they call their DART. It's DART, they call it. According to DART, they will not pick you up the same day that you call them. You have to give them at minimum of 24 hours notice. So these guys at the courthouse knew that I was not able to make it to the court, which is one of the reasons when they removed my daughter, I hollered Disability Rights Act. You're violating my rights as a disabled person. So there's no confusion here. So these guys violated my civil rights, not just with regards to me being disabled, but also they violated my rights as a victim, because I was a victim of Ronald Lee. He confessed to raping me. And he did it the way he did it was so that it was, I don't think he meant to do it that way, but it was where my godchildren and half the Maple Grove trailer park could hear. I told him no, and he did it anyway. He held me at gunpoint. It's a lot different when you know somebody's unarmed versus when you know somebody has a gun and they're walking through your house in the middle of the night. So there's no confusion here. There are ways that people tamper with stuff, and that's exactly what this man was doing. He was robbing me blind as a drug addict while he was sexually assaulting me, trying to claim to the world that him and I were together when we were absolutely not. Part of the problem with this is Department of Health and Human Services didn't want to honor my marriage to James O'Keefe because according to them, we didn't match. According to them, I was a drug addict and an alcoholic with no evidence. Now, some of these guys knew I wasn't. According to them, I matched the drug addict and alcoholic. Do you know on how many levels that violates my civil rights? Bronson doesn't have anything to do with that. All they know is that they see the hacking going on, and I see it everywhere. So by this time, I know what hacking looks like, and I'm very, very well aware of the targeting and everything, because I've been dealing with this for years. This didn't just start overnight. And I want to give Bronson, as well as Star Transportation and Park Meadows, a lot of credit, because there's only so much that these guys are responsible for. They're not responsible for when people break into my house and steal activated charcoal pills. So you got to stop and think, who's responsible for that? The thief is. And they know that I purchased it because it's on I purchased it through United Healthcare card, my OTC card. So we have a problem here. When I can verify that I made these purchases and this stuff is missing, I went through my whole house before I came forward and said, hey, this is something that's missing. I didn't just sit up here and say, oh, it's gone. I might do that in the privacy of myself, say, who took that? But I didn't go public and say, hey, somebody took my activated charcoal until I absolutely knew for a fact it was gone. So that's where the difference is. You don't just run around false accusing somebody, because then now you're in trouble with defamation. So you have to be very careful of the line that you cross when you're dealing with people like me who are disabled, because I do have rights to privacy, especially when I have to hear on the street about how people, the police department was searching through my trash when the girl could tell me everything that they found that day. That's where the problem is. So we've got leaks everywhere, and not all of them are good. Some of them are meant for evil. But, in the end, what these people meant for evil, God always turns to good. So remember that as you walk your day to day with God's love. I hope everybody has a blessed and wonderful day. And I hope to make another video soon. God bless you.